was saying this morning, I was talking about what is your why you started your business, why you started your nonprofit, was it a for-profit or nonprofit. Anybody on the call, if you want to share why you started your nonprofit. You probably thought that I wasn't even online because you couldn't hear me, those of you on the conference call line. Thank you for joining us. If you come in, tell us where you're calling from, your name and where you're calling from, and tell us your why.
Hi, my name. Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Claudia. I'm just hearing a feedback, so that's why I didn't know if it was me talking or if it was someone else. But I'm calling from California, and I started a nonprofit in 2005 to help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, etc., to find services and to find shelter. And we had a 24-hour hotline, different things of that nature, to help victims. My why of starting that organization was because I myself was a victim of domestic violence. And for 20 years, I was in a marriage that was violent for 20 years. I know that's a long time to remain in a situation like that. But nonetheless, when I was able to safely get out of that relationship in 1998, it took me several years before I decided to do something about helping others get through the process safely, as I had been blessed to be able to get through. So in 2005 is when I started my nonprofit, basically to help other individuals, help family members to get their loved ones out of violent relationships and be safe so that they can continue to live and thrive and be a person who helps and supports their family, keep children from having to go through the experiences that my children went through. So primarily out of passion, out of a desire to help others is my why.
And that's why a lot of people start their nonprofits out of either a passion, something that they believe in, or maybe something that they see that they want to see happen in their community or in other people's lives. So tell me again, you started this in the 90s, did you say?
No, I got out of my marriage in 1998. So I mulled over the idea of what could I do about the issue of domestic violence, and it took me until 2005 to actually start a nonprofit and open the doors to help others. So there was that window of healing between 1998 to 2005 when I had to put my own feet on the ground after coming through the trauma that I experienced. So it was, a 7-year window between the time that I got out of my relationship and till the time that I actually started a nonprofit.
So when you started your nonprofit, tell me about that process. Did you find it easy to start your nonprofit? Did somebody help you with paperwork? And once you got started, how were you able to let people know about it? These are things that I want people to hear so they can learn, from other people. How did other people hear about it? How did you get your volunteers? Just tell me how it grew.
Okay, I had been in corporate America for over 20 years at that time, so I had a bit of idea of how to position myself and be diplomatic in my community, to find stakeholders and others who felt my urge and need and passion, and it just so happened the first thing I did was I hired somebody to do a marketing plan, and in that marketing plan, they pointed out to me some of the elected officials who I needed to go and sit down and have conversations with before I started doing anything, because I wanted to make sure that I had the support of elected officials and individuals who were decision makers in my community, as well as I wanted to talk to other nonprofit domestic violence organizations in the county that I was thinking about launching my program in. So I talked to all of these folks and introduced myself, told them who I was, et cetera, et cetera. It just so happened that there was a large gap and a need for what I was bringing to the table, and I was embraced by those local officials who helped to point me in the direction of where I could get some very small seed money. I'm talking like my first one was from a bank for $300. And I was so excited that I had gotten $300 because I felt validated that someone would invest financially into my vision. So it's through going to meetings of community leaders and different things of that nature, just showing up at those meetings. And then as I continue to show up and talk about my plans and what have you, then I started being engrafted into the community as a person to partner with. But it took a while, though, still, before I was able to receive funding and grant money and different things of that nature.
Well, I love that you just shared that you started letting people know what you were doing. You got connected with political officials. You let them know what you're doing, because that's what I tell people, or I ask people, do your political officials know what you're doing in the community? It's best that you let them know, because a lot of times they're busy doing what they do, and they have funding to help certain organizations, but if they don't know what you do, then they can't help you, and they need you to do what you do in the community because they need people to help them. Hey, hi Hannah, how are you? So, and another thing that you said, that when you got your first grant, although it was $300, just how it really lifted your spirit, if I can say that. It does make a difference once you get that first grant. It just, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're doing something right, you're on the right track, and somebody believes in you. And so that is a big deal. I don't care if it's $300, I don't care if it's $100. When somebody sees you plant the seed, then it just kind of gives you a boost. I remember when I first got my first grant, my nonprofit, what a difference it made, and just kind of gives you that energy and that boost to go to the next level.
Exactly. So and that's exactly what that did for me.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So where are you at with your nonprofit? How are you doing? This is
I closed the doors. Okay. I closed the doors in 2016. After running from 2005 to 2016, ran into some legal challenges. And I stopped providing services in December 2016.
Are you going to start it back up, or are you going to do something different? Because a lot of times when we start on a path to do something and it leads to other things, are you going to start something else now?
I am, and I'm putting together my business plan and different things needed to start up again. And I won't start a nonprofit again per se, but my passion has now turned to helping individuals who want to start a nonprofit, or for individuals who have already started a nonprofit and not quite sure what the next steps need to be. So I want to help those who are starting, those who have started, and those who have been in business for a while, and come alongside them and provide consulting, information, grant writing services, consulting, different things that I knew that I needed as I continued to have my nonprofit in place, but I couldn't find a me out there. So I'm now becoming the me that I wished I would have had when I first started out, somebody who could, number one, understand my passion and not throw it off as, well, you need to raise, $500,000 before you start a nonprofit, because that, realistically, in my community, that's sort of unheard of. But I wanted to be able to be that person for that individual or that group of people who want to address the issues in their community and are starting from the bottom and bootstrapping or, their organization in order to get it moving forward.
Well, this is good. This is good because most nonprofits do bootstrap their organization. I mean, you're using your own money to do everything until you start getting that help from individuals, corporations, and then grants. So I love to hear that you're still doing your why. You're still helping people. You started your why because of a situation you were in, and you've helped so many people through your nonprofit because I'm sure you've helped thousands of people. And not only that, I say thousands, even the people who are affected by them later on in life, whether it's their children, their family members. So thank you for what you have done and what you continue to do. And now you're going to help people. And I love what you said about you want to help people because you didn't have a you to help you
when
you were doing it. And so you want to help other people. I love that. I love that you're doing that. And there needs to be more of us because there's, billions of people in the world and people always need help. So thank you for doing that. Tell me this, when you did your nonprofit, did you get local, corporation, and federal grants?
Yes, I did. I got city, state, county, and federal grants, and foundation grants as well. I even had a government contract, which is different from a grant, to be able to bring money into the organization.
So I hope everybody's listening because you really did the work. It takes a lot of work to do what you just did, all those different types of grants you just got. You really did put it in the work. So wow. You rarely meet people who, start and then they get into the role where they can reach the level where they can get government grants. And then you said government contracts. So, I mean, your organization really reached the pinnacle of what most nonprofits get to. I'm not talking about the ones who are the universities and the hospitals, but for a nonprofit that started by bootstrapping, started using your own money, and you really grew to a level, really you rose to the top. So what you have to share now with other people who want to start a nonprofit, it's going to be priceless. It's going to be priceless, really.
I'm praying that it will be because, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in our local communities and even abroad, internationally. There's work that we can do to impact those environments as well. But sometimes in order to be able to reach the masses, we have to have a strong, solid foundation. And that's one of the things that I really want to encourage and to help people build and structure. And with that base in place, you can continue to pile on and grow the organization as those needs and opportunities present themselves.
That's right. We talked about this morning because one of the young ladies said that her why was helping people build their infrastructure. And so you just mentioned, people, you need that foundation, you need that base, you need the infrastructure. You need all of that to be a successful, we're talking about nonprofits, they're really a business because even though people hear the word nonprofit, they think you're not, making a profit. You should be making a profit or your doors are going to be closed. You're not going to continue doing your why. So just keep that in mind. So you did all of those things. Let me ask you this. Now, I mentioned the profit side. Did you have any profit side to your business where you can have some residual income coming into your nonprofit?
Not really. We never did see a very large profit margin because my nonprofit was spread out into 5 different locations. I had three battered women's shelters. One was a crisis shelter, which operated 24 hours a day. So that was hiring staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then on top of that, we had a 24-hour crisis hotline. So it was kind of hard to realize a lot of profit. We were, like a lot of nonprofits, just barely keeping the doors open because of how my nonprofit was structured. I would say that we were 90% grant funded, and that's where the bulk of our funding came from. And looking back now in hindsight, that's definitely a bad model. Because a lot of people don't know and understand that grants work only if you have that money up front first. Because grants, for the most part, are all reimbursement instruments, if you will.
So, let me stop you right there because some people may get that confused. So you're mostly talking about the government grants. Most of them are reimbursement. Right. So I just want to make sure so people don't get scared and say, oh, my God, I don't want to, apply for any grants. So she was at the top of her game, if you will, getting government grants. And a lot of times you have to show what you've done. You show that you spent this much amount of money, and then they will send you the money. So, a lot of times it's reimbursement, if you will. So I just want to clear that up for those of you who say, oh, I don't want to apply for grants. Yeah. Wow. There was something I was thinking to ask you, but I wanted to ask if any other calls. So we have several people on the call line. If you have any other questions, I really thank you for calling in and sharing this information. Anybody else on the call line have a question about your nonprofit or grant writing or anything?
They really have had no substantial transition. That's a big step. But the president then
I hear somebody speaking, but I'm not sure if you're speaking to us.
It's a real strategy.
Okay, so on that, I'm gonna put that caller on mute because it may be some background noise. Any questions on Instagram? My phone is getting ready to die on Instagram, so I'm going to cut this short on Instagram. We're still on Facebook Live. I'm going to end this on Instagram. 1 second. Can you end this? My phone is going to die in video. Okay. And I'll just share this later. So those of you who are watching this on the replay on Facebook and listening to this on the call queue, wow. Claudia called in from California and shared a lot of good information. Claudia, I can talk to you all day because this is the kind of information, what you're sharing is what I want a lot of the nonprofits to hear. And so now you're at the point where you've gleaned from so many people, you've learned from your mistakes, and now you want to share with other people how they can start their nonprofit, about grant writing. Now, when I say government grants, you are going to be phenomenal of helping people with the government grants, helping them find the right match for them, and then helping them manage that. Because when you get government grants, I talked about this morning, you need a whole grant management system. So let's talk about that, if you will, Claudia, the grant management system, what people can do when they start getting the government grants. How do they manage those funds?
Looking back in hindsight, it's always, things are very clear when you're looking back. But just some of the simple, basic things that I would tell people when they receive a grant, be it government or any kind, is to set up a filing system. I have come up with a plan or a format where I developed, there's at least 20 different systems that organization, I believe, need to have in place. And one of those systems is a filing system. If you're going to have clients, where are you going to file your client files? Usually with grants, they're requirements where files have to be in a locked cabinet, in a locked office, with, in a locked building. I mean, because of confidentiality, et cetera, et cetera. So just something simple as starting out with the filing system. That's one of the systems I believe that needs to be in place. And then another system is your financial bookkeeping system. What is it going to capture? How often is it going to capture it? Who's going to do the work? Who's going to create the reports? Because all grants require some type of reporting on both of those two types of systems that we mentioned. One is the clients that you're serving, hence your filing system for your clients. And then the second one is your financial reporting. How are you spending the money that they are giving you? And then there's I don't want to get into too much more detail, but along the way, as you prepare for the funding that you're getting, you have to think about setting up processes, policies, procedures, and structures that will be able to allow you to hold and manage those dollars.
Right. Right. And this is some of the things I talked about this morning. I mean, it's so important. Even before you get to the government grant level, start doing this now. Start doing this when you're getting those small dollars so you can get in the practice of doing this because it can only help you. I muted everybody on the conference call line. If you would like to unmute yourself to ask a question, press *6 and the number 1, and you'll be unmuted and come on the call queue. Press *6 and the number 1 to unmute yourself to ask a question. This is great, Claudia. I mean, wow, I am so glad you came on. You're teaching us tonight. This is really good. I want to ask you, so you said you're going to start a for-profit business. Have you started it yet? You want to share that with everybody? Because if somebody wants to contact you and ask you any questions.
Well, right now they can reach me by going to my nonprofit clinic.com, and they can reach me there. And I am in the process of starting the for-profit, but I won't actually launch anything until the first part of next year. But for right now, in order to be able to get in touch with me, they can go to my nonprofitclinic.com, and they'll find me there.
Awesome. I just typed that on Facebook. I'll probably share it on Instagram a little later. If there's anything that I can do to help you along the way, feel free to ask. You know, I'm an open book. I'll share anything that I have with you. So if anything I can do to help you, Claudia, let me know. Please let me know.
Will do.
Awesome. So if you have any questions, again, press *6 and number 1. And if there are no questions, I'm going to end the recording. Is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners tonight, Claudia?
Just to be encouraged and to know that your vision matters, your mission matters, and just want to encourage people to take up the task and the challenge and move forward.
Yeah, that's good. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call tonight. If you have any questions, you know how you can reach me at grantwritingschool.org. Make sure you sign up for our courses next month. Is basically on how to write a budget, and we're going to be talking about, you know, making sure that your budget is right for your program. Some of you have programs, some of you have projects, and we're going to look at different budgets, you know, budgets for the large grants, for the small grants. So it's time to get ready. We're getting ready to go into 2021. Let's start getting everything together. Let's move forward. I'm excited for what's going to happen in 2021. I'm excited for all the nonprofits that are starting and for your vision and what you're going to do in the community. I know a lot of people have shut down. A lot of people feel like they're stagnant because of COVID, but things are going to get better. Just hang in there. Things will get better. But while you're standing still or while things are slow, it's best to start getting your house in order, start getting things in order, start getting ready, because the new funding has already opened. As far as the government funding, that started November 1st. Corporations, they've started giving. This is the best time to prepare for giving this fourth quarter. But then we're going into the new year. As far as individuals, people give a lot of money, during tax season, and so to start writing down. I know you got your wish list. So I won't say your wish list, but let's start getting your budget together. Let's start getting your why down pat, so that when you start writing your grants, you can, really make a statement and really paint a picture for people that you're asking money for. I'm going to ask one more time before I hang up. If there are any questions, press *6 and the number 1 on the conference call line. *6 and the number 1. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all again. Visit us at grantwritingschool.org. Visit Claudia's website, mynonprofitclinic.com, and contact her. I mean, this girl is amazing, amazing. So just hearing, what you've been through, what you've done, what you've accomplished, and now that you want to continue to give and continue to help other people, wow. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Right, thank you also, Aretha, for facilitating this conversation.
I love what I do. So thank you. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.